This is a live presentation of the Titan Upload Network.
The Power Hour's on the air, live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. I'm your host, Michael Bishop, and thank you for joining us on this Victory Monday. It feels good to get a win streak going, guys. 3 wins in a row before heading into the bye week. Got to feel good about that. Got to feel good about our chances, about getting a few things fixed. But, of course, we definitely got a few things we have to get fixed up going forward. But we'll talk about that going forward. Lou Man is hanging solo, and he is keeping the comment section locked down in here. So, Lou, great seeing you. Always love having you, buddy. Dude kept us entertained while we were waiting for the show to start. And as I say, of course, we got a jam-packed show for you. And during jam-packed shows, we got to have guests. And I brought in 2 of the best guests I could find tonight. Joining us tonight on the show, you know him as the Lou Enforcer, our good buddy, Chris from Titans and Truth.
What's going on?
And joining us also, new on the show, it is our good buddy, Marcus. Marcus, welcome to the Power Hour.
How y'all doing, Titan fam?
And guys, it has been an interesting last 24 hours, just to say the least. Tennessee squeaks by with a cardiac arrest game just before we get into the top news. You guys doing okay? I want to make sure your blood pressure's okay. Want to make sure those last 2 minutes didn't do too much to you.
Well, it was a fun blood pressure medication.
Well, Truth, I'll start with you. I know you had to been like just glued into the television for the last minute and a half. Just going forward, I know there's still a lot of things we've got to work on, but you got to feel pretty good about the defense that they're able to stand in and lock this one down.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good things to feel about this defense. I mean, as far as they made the plays that needed to be made at the time they needed to be made. And forgive my voice, y'all. Obviously did a lot of, yelling and screaming yesterday. But I did like, again, how they hung in there. They did get some pressure finally on Wentz, caused them to have a few problems. But there were some things that were a little bit of an issue to me as well, as far as we gave up too many explosive plays down the field. But again, when it mattered most, they did make the play that did matter most, especially in the red zone. And I believe they are one of the best red zone defenses in the league. So holding the field goals instead of touchdowns, definitely glad that happened.
Yes, sir.
And Marcus, getting to you, being new on the show, also with the red zone comment, I mean, the Titans boast the best red zone offense in the league. The problem is getting to the damn red zone, which has been a huge problem for this offense. Before we get started with the top news, what are some things you would like to see the offense potentially work on coming back from the bye that you think is one of the most important things moving forward, especially with this 12-game stretch looming on us?
I would say I would like to see Tannehill use his legs more. Sometimes I know standing in the pocket is best, but maybe get him out on a rollout. We need more speed overall. Maybe we should just take more shots downfield just to see can we open up the defense. But everything's jam-packed. It's hard for anyone to find crevices to get anything going.
And it's going to be an interesting point going forward. I mean, they will have the week off, and most of the players that are rehabbing will be in the facility taking care of their injuries. Hopefully we can get Monty Rice and a slew of other players that we need back for the long haul. Get into our comments real quick. As I said, Lou Man's holding the fort down. Titan Fox throwing in. He's too talkative. I like it when y'all are talkative, Fox. I mean, that keeps the show informative. We got to keep you informed. Shout out to TA, our buddy P Shark in there. P Shark with Let's Be Real podcast. Make sure you check him out. Always putting stuff down, especially with NBA season coming around the corner. Make sure you check him and his guys out. They're doing phenomenal work up there. Also, our good buddy Titan Pratt. It did a lot for me. And I believe you, man. It was a very stressful game, but you definitely have to feel pretty good about the situation at hand, coming back and closing this game out, which we'll definitely talk about a little more. P Shark also saying, I've been wanting Tannehill to use his legs more for 3 years. I've given up all hope on that. And I mean, it's just even more a problem now that he's just moving away from it. But will he convert back to that kind of situation, especially the way the offensive line played, which we'll get more on that later. But first, we got some top news around the league to get to. Let's jump into it, guys. Welcome to the Power Hour, and we're going to hit the top news right now. And as it is breaking on Saturday, the NFL and the NFLPA have come to an agreement on their protocol percussion. And basically what it says is that the NFL and the NFLPA have decided that if a player exerts any kind of showing or any kind of concussion-like symptoms, basically we'll call it the wobble rule, they're basically done for that game. And Chris, we'll start with you on this. I know this was a very big situation going forward, especially with the Tua Tagovailoa situation. Do you think the NFL and the NFLPA have made the right decision moving forward, or do you think they could have done more, especially with the time they try to get this thing hammered in?
I mean, I think they did the best they could in the situation that they were put in. I mean, honestly enough, the firing of the doctor from the Miami Dolphins because of what happened, Tua going down, and then he goes right back in, and then playing 4 days later, something had to be done. I don't think everything got ironed out probably the way that it needed to be, but I think for it going forward, at least for this season, at least them coming to an agreement on that protocol, I think it's a very good thing going forward.
And Marcus, it being a situation where players are going to play regardless of how they're feeling. If you're hurt, you're going to try and go out there because that's the competitive nature. Do you feel this was a situation that the PA and the NFL had to step in and basically protect the players from themselves going forward?
Yes, they also had to protect themselves. It was a bad look amongst them also. So, but you got to protect the players because they all you got. So if you don't protect them, I mean, you're going to see things just start to happen negative for the league. So I think it was the only choice they had to make.
In the game itself, I mean, we all knew that Tua was being rushed back. It felt just like a situation where they were trying to get ratings in. It was a big game, Thursday night. They're trying to continue to move that momentum forward, especially Amazon spending the big bucks to make this game work. But we all knew it was going to be a problem. So, really, the Miami Dolphins once again find themselves in that controversy where they're trying to just do everything they can to make themselves not look bad, and then they end up being in that situation anyway. And the funny thing I find even more just ironic is that their owner really had no call in this, as far as we know, because he's been suspended up until mid-October. Mm-hmm. So who do you feel that made this call going forward that Tua had the okay to play, and we all knew it wasn't the situation that needed to be in hand? So who does this fall on more responsibility, I guess would be the best way to question it?
That's a very good question because, I mean, like you said, the owner has been suspended, and, it could be a coach's call. It's going to be the doctor or the medical team at the time. There's really a lot of different ways you could have went with this. The coach could have been like, hey, can Tua go back in there? Can he play? Can he do this? And if they, if the doctors are saying, you know what, he checked out, I guess they, the doctor thought that he would be okay at the time, even though it clearly looked like he wasn't. And I mean, that is I will probably look more at the medical team more than anything. But I'm thinking the coaches maybe had something to do with it. I don't know if that maybe came from the general manager. That could have came that way as well. But I would probably lean towards the medical staff on that. But, seeing that again, that happening there and then the coach making the call for him to play on Thursday night. Now, I would go with the coach for Thursday night. But as far as on Sunday against the Bills, having them go back in there right after having that concussion, I would go with the medical team.
And Marcus, I'll pose the same question to you.
I know probably Tua. He probably sold them on that he was okay to play. So you got to put some on the player. Sometimes I think the players got to step up and just kind of realize what's on the line more than just the game. But also you got to protect the players because they're gonna want to go out there, and us as fans, we hard on the players if they're not tough or if they sitting out too long. So overall, it's everyone got to just be understanding when you come down to things like that.
And with these put in place, it's basically a good situation for now. But I expect, especially once the owners' meetings take place next year and with the coaches' meetings, that this is more than likely something that's going to be voted on and try to find another solution, potentially adding on or replacing it entirely with possibly something a little more long term. So, Marcus, I'll start with you. What's something you would like to see added to this protocol to help it be more efficient? And we'll finish with Chris for the final.
I think we starting to see it in training camp with the big old helmets. I think it's coming. It's going one day we're gonna see big helmets on the field during regular season. I feel like that's gonna be the next step. I'm not sure how long it's gonna take. It might be a while, but I can see that happening.
And same question for you, Chris. I think we might have lost sound on Chris, so
okay,
apologies.
I'm here.
All right, I'm sorry about that, man. But you go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That was my fault on my end. But
That's
I would
okay.
say, I get what Marcus is saying. Sometimes you have to protect the player from themselves because a lot of times a player will think, I might be banged up a little bit, but I can still play. I want to still continue to play and still keep going, even though really they shouldn't. But at the same time, those big padded, the big pads on top of the helmet that will help in practice. I don't know how they're going to do that as far as in the game necessarily, as far as that goes. But I mean, like for example, with Tua, the second time he went down in Cincinnati, he hit the turf pretty hard. So maybe I don't know if the grass or the turf needs to be a little bit softer or a little bit a little bit where, when you hit your head, it's not hurting so bad or it's not so hard. Because, I mean, again, we play football. Sometimes the grass or the turf gets so hard, it's like you're hitting concrete sometimes when you fall.
Yeah.
And great point right there. I mean, one thing we don't realize is a lot of injuries do happen on this artificial turf. I just don't think it's accessible enough, especially where the game continues to get faster. The players elevate their game, and I just don't think it's something that they can keep up on. I mean, granted, we see injuries on natural grass fields, but it seems the blunt of them definitely have been popping up, especially on these more artificial turfs. So I'll pose this question to both of you. Do you think that it's potential that the NFL could look down the road and potentially just making most stadiums now just natural grass, especially indoor ones, if this would help reduce the concussion?
I think they. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think they should consider it. I know it's probably hard to keep that natural grass afloat, just because other teams might be playing on it, just like how the Titans, after they play a bowl game, how bad the grass looks. So, I mean, that's a factor in it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I will probably take a picture out of the Arizona Cardinals playbook because they are excellent at keeping their grass. They're keeping their field good because I think whenever they have, I think they have different, like they're able to roll that grass or roll it out, roll it outside to where they can, work on it or keep it up. Sometimes grass needs sunlight and things like that. They're able to roll it out and protect it and things like that. They may have different grass for, different events. So they may have their turf already decorated for the Cardinals game, and then they roll in another one if it's like a bowl game or a college game, they roll that in and have that one already set up so that way you're not using the same grass. I have seen that. I think that might be a system that other teams might need to adopt. I mean, that might make it a little bit more difficult, but if there's a way to care for the grass, I mean, there's definitely a way to do it. I mean, we've seen it where um you know, some, some fields have like, with the winter time, they have where there are heat underneath the field to where they keep the field warm and not, with ice and, when it's icy or if it's even with rain, it doesn't mess up the field completely. So I think that's something that can be adopted. I don't know if a lot of people will want to spend money on that, but that is something that could happen.
And great points by both of you. In the long term, there's a lot of things that I feel teams are going to try and adopt, but really at the end of the day, it just seems like the NFL is going to continue to push this more and more, favoring potentially knocking out exhibition games altogether, especially in the preseason, which you think that that wouldn't be a good idea. But in all honesty, I think moving to a situation where they have scrimmages and more live practices, they get the benefit of having that competition without all the hype and selling stadium seats that aren't going to be full regardless. It seems the NFL wants to get to the point to where they have a 20 game schedule, and this is just kind of that first step in that direction. So to end with that, do you think we could potentially see that being a situation also looming in the near future? And we'll start with you, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, they've already went down from 4 to 3 games, and players have already come out and said they don't really care for the preseason anyway. And I think even I want to say it might have been Chris Collinsworth on like a Sunday night. I can't remember who it was, but one of the commentators said basically September was the preseason, as far as working out the kinks and things like that for a lot of teams. So, I mean, I could see it where, the preseason is completely eliminated. I could definitely see that happening. I mean, it could mean more practice time and things like that, but I could see it, but I don't think it's gonna happen yet.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, and I wouldn't like to see. I don't want to see preseason end. I actually enjoy the preseason, and just seeing the players out there, fighting for a position. It's part of the season for me. So it's kind of like I would love to see it just continue, maybe reducing it down one more game, but for it to be gone altogether, I wouldn't like to see that. I would like to see it stay.
There'll definitely be a lot of discussions going forward, especially with concussion protocol being effective immediately for this season going forward. What they'll do in the near future, we'll have to wait and see. Moving to our next story, it appears that the NFL has caught Europe fever. And while they've been making the Europe games something of just out of the ordinary for the last decade, adding on to that, they are now going to play their first ever game in Germany ever since the inception of the NFL Europe League. When asked Roger Goodell if there could be an expansion to London, Goodell went even further, saying that it could potentially be spread out to having a division in the European market, potentially starting the Europe Four or the Fab Four, as I call it. So, Chris, we'll start with you. I mean, we already know there's appeal overseas, but is it sustainable enough to hold, a 4-team division across the pond?
That will definitely make it a lot more challenging for travel purposes. Like if you're doing it like once, like having, a few teams doing it, out of the year, then, doing it maybe like at 2 weeks or 3 weeks at a time, that's fine. But doing it for a whole season, that can be a bit of a challenge. Because we know how things are crazy with flights now and things with delays and cancellations and things like that. So that can make things a lot more difficult for a lot of teams. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the fact that it's spreading across the world and that it gives more exposure to the sport. I don't know if it is super, sustainable for longevity. Again, I am down for, games happen, a game or 2 games a year in London or in Germany or in France or something like that. But having it where there's like a legit team over there and everybody has to go over there every week, that will make it very difficult, especially with the way travel restrictions and things are going. Because I mean, we're coming out of a pandemic. So what happens if we have another pandemic or something like that or something crazy happening, it stops travel from, other parts of the world. That's going to make it difficult for those teams in Europe to get here or for any teams here to get over there. So I don't think it'll be sustainable longevity wise.
Marcus, your take.
I know it'd be rough on the drafted players if they was to have to get drafted and go out, out the country. So I mean, I think it will happen eventually, but I think it's going to be a transitional period where it's going to be a lot of things that people don't like about it. Even with the Brittany Griner situation, the laws are different. It's an adjustment period for like a player going down there, for the first time.
And I would have to add on that. I mean, the currency as well. You'd be paid in a different setting, and I'm pretty sure it'd either be the pound or the euro, depending on. I know the euro's stronger than the pound right now, so I would have to say that would be the currency that the players would be paid right there. But just to make it interesting, and just for the sake of argument, which do you think is more likely to happen? And Marcus, we'll start with you, and Chris will end on the same question. What do you think would be more likely? The 4-team division overseas or a Super Bowl in London?
Super Bowl in London. I can really see that. The support over there is incredible. I can really see the Super Bowl being really a good look for the NFL going to London. As far as like a 14 division, be honest with you, this is my first time really hearing about it. So it's kind of like, I guess, far-fetched just hearing about it right now. But I can really see the Super Bowl in London. I actually like having that 9 o'clock game when they play in London. It's like, it get your football Sunday started.
I can agree with that. I mean, I'm gonna say Super Bowl in London. That's easy. I think that's definitely gonna happen at some point, and that will be like monumental for the league. So I definitely see a Super Bowl in London. 14 division, like I'm with Marcus. It's the first time I've really heard of that. Again, I don't know if that'll be sustainable, with the travel and everything. I mean, I think it'll be good. I wouldn't be against it, but again, I think the Super Bowl will be a lot more appealing, and I think that's definitely the easier route to go.
And I agree with you both. I mean, really along the lines, if you're trying to expand your brand, you want to do it with your biggest game possible. The downside is, once again, for the average fan, the only way we get to go is through an experience or if we mortgage off our house. So
Yeah.
making that a little more difficult for just the average Joe Schmo that wants to go see the Super Bowl once in their lifetime. But I understand that the business aspect, that if they're trying to expand globally and try and make the game of football more interesting and appealing to other countries, just as it is with basketball and soccer, you have to reach across and see what you can come up with, especially from an interest standpoint. And it's really going to be just a wait and see kind of situation. Will the Super Bowl eventually happen in merry old England? Who's to say? I'm not opposed to it, but once again, we'll wait and see. Also, in breaking news today, the Carolina Panthers have had their fill of Matt Rule and have basically ruled him out as being their head coach for the future. And this shocks no one, especially me, which I've been on the Matt Rule bandwagon to have him gone because I just did not believe in his system. I am a firm believer in some college quarterbacks cannot recapture that Jimmy Johnson / Pete Carroll magic. And Chris, for you, we'll start on this. Big surprise or no surprise?
No surprise. I mean, Carolina has struggled right out of the gate. They couldn't solve their quarterback problem. And now, Baker Mayfield is dealing with some type of injury, which PJ Walker, the XFL legend, could end up being a starting quarterback at some point. So this could be a situation where the Panthers go completely into fire sale rebuild mode, but it's no shock to me whatsoever.
I mean, I guess just looking at the stats, he's probably like the worst, I guess, coach in like Carolina history. But he only had 2 years, so I think it was kind of rushed. But I guess it just letting you know that the Panthers and the organization didn't believe in him, so they said let's go ahead and move on.
Yeah. And I mean, they're paying him $40 million now. So, to go away. And I mean, I think they thought when they got Baker Mayfield that it would set up good things for them, but it just hasn't panned out. We know CMC, Run CMC can have some injury issues. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Carolina going forward if they, they try to rally around their interim head coach. I can't remember who the new coach is right now. If they can rally around him, or if this is going to be a situation where it's like, hey, just sell the farm and let's start over. Make some trades, get some picks.
Yeah,
Start over. I don't know what's going to be with that.
we need a receiver.
I would
And
love that. I've been seeing that going around. I'm like, DJ Moore or Robbie Anderson, J Rob, you can fix some of this. Get on the horn.
Yeah,
And that's a great point you bring up. I mean, the Panthers more than likely will have a fire sale at some point, especially if they're just going to start from scratch, especially having key component guys that could be somewhere else and potentially help a team in need at a position where they're shorthanded at. But it appears that Steve Wilkes will take over the helm of head coach for the Carolina Panthers as their intern. And I'm fine with this choice. I really felt he never got the true opportunity in Arizona that he deserved. So let's just say, for argument's sake, that he ends up actually being decent for Carolina. So would he be the best candidate going forward, or do you have anybody else in mind that you think could fill the job better? And we'll start with you on that question, Marcus.
Shoot, the best guy out there, I'm not sure if he's willing to coach again, is Sean Payton. But I don't think he'll come back in that same division. He would get booed like crazy. But I think so. If they have a good year, if they can kind of pull their season, to make it respectable, I think you should give them a shot.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I mean, I think if they can turn it around, maybe even get to 500, or at least have a respectable record, then at least give him a shot at least for another year to see what he could do. So I mean, as long as they give him a fair shake the rest of the season, Let them, let's see if this works. Let's see if they can improve. If they improve and maybe get to around 5 or 6 wins or something like that, then it's like, you know what? It's a building block. Let's see if we could build up on this at least for another year or so. And that's kind of where I would go with that. So I think he at least deserves a look. But yeah, I agree. I don't think Sean Payton will come back, especially going against the Saints.
Little
Excuse me.
man bringing up Urban Meyer.
Absolutely.
I don't think they're that desperate, Lou, man. I don't see that happening. Titan Fox
They're not.
also saying John Gruden.
Uh,
Love the enthusiasm, guys, but I just don't see that happening at all.
I
But one
I'll say this
realistic
to
take.
be I'll say this to be funny. If I had to choose, I'll go with John Gruden over Urban Meyer anytime.
That's true. I just wouldn't let John Gruden have his own personal computer there.
Agreed.
But a more realistic candidate that I would actually go after would probably be Eric Bieniemy. I feel that if you're trying to get a quarterback environment built in that situation, I feel that he's the right fit. I think, especially what we've seen with Mahomes, and I know people are going to like point to Andy Reid more, but Bieniemy needs the chance to show that he can shine on a national stage, and I think that could be one of the best options if he decides to go into a head coaching job. And if they do end up with a high pick, I mean, there's a lot of good quarterbacks coming out in this draft. So it's not a bad situation.
It's not.
Absolutely not. I definitely agree.
But regardless of that, the Carolina Panthers decided to make the move moving forward, and hopefully it's a move that will pay off for them in the long run. But as we were talking about the fire sale, there's already been some reports coming out. As we speak right now, Christian McCaffrey is getting a lot of interest along with other players, but the Bills, especially, trying to find a way to get their running game elevated. Wouldn't be a bad trade if the Bills were willing to eat a little bit of that salary, but along those lines, that would make an even more dynamic team a very dangerous Super Bowl contender with that addition. Because I believe you are asking McCaffrey to just come in, make a few plays here and there. He doesn't have to be a game changer. So, Chris, starting with you, do you think this would be a good fit and a good investment for Buffalo for a short-term gain?
If they make that investment, good luck trying to stop them. It's already hard. It's already hard to stop them already. But you add Christian McCaffrey, if he can stay healthy, and that's the key word in all of this, healthy. If he can do that, it makes Buffalo an even more dangerous team because he can run the ball, he can catch out of the backfield, he can line up a receiver. Then you can't double up on Diggs, you can't focus on Knox. You're gonna have to pay attention to him too, and that just makes it even more difficult. But for Buffalo, that would be a great move. For everybody else in the AFC, not so much.
Yeah, I would hate to see that happen. But I mean, if Buffalo has a chance to get Christian McCaffrey, you got to go for it. What would they have to give up? I guess that's another thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, he is injury prone at this point. They don't like really running the ball in Buffalo, but maybe they'll change things up if they get McCaffrey. But he can catch out that backfield. So I mean, I'm just trying to talk myself out of it. But it'd be a great situation for Buffalo. I don't see it being anything negative.
And I'll let you both put on your GM caps for this one. So, Marcus, we'll start with you, and we'll end with Chris. What would be your trade offer to Carolina to bring McCaffrey to Buffalo?
I mean, it has to be a first round pick if you Carolina. I know first round picks you just don't give them out very easily. Right about this time. But I would at least need a first round pick for that. But I almost don't see them giving it up. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, Carolina could, if they're, especially if they're in rebuilding mode, they may want a king's ransom for him. Like they might ask for multiple first round picks.
Yeah.
They might, I could, and I don't think that would actually happen, but maybe a first, maybe a couple of multiple seconds could definitely be in the cards. A first, a couple of seconds, and something like that. Maybe that's something that could actually work. Or they may ask for, one of the defensive linemen or a defensive player or something like that in return to kind of even that out as far as the money is concerned, and maybe somebody that can help Carolina in that rebuild. So I would say I would probably go crazy, multiple ones, a two, and a player.
Mm.
Okay. I could
So
see that. On my take, I do feel you're going to have to give up a number one pick. And Buffalo can afford to do that. They're going all in this year. I don't see them trying to save up anything. This is make or break here. This is the one they're going to go for. So a king's ransom, they're not going to get. But I'm going to get them close there. So I will trade a first round pick in this year's draft and a fourth round pick in next year's draft.
I would do it too.
You get the value you need there. And even if he gets injured, it was worth a gamble because you're not going to miss out on a lot. You basically got your core guy signed for most of the year. All you got to do is just kind of revamp. And I think you're at the stage where people will go to Buffalo and sign and play with Josh Allen.
I agree.
So Carolina, you get a number one pick, and you get a four down the road. So I think that's a fair enough deal.
If I want to play with a winner.
And that arm.
It's Buffalo's make or break year. Will they make the deal? Will a deal be made eventually? Who's on the fire sale for Carolina? There'll be questions we'll find out, and we'll get answers soon enough. But, of course, guys, it's Monday night, and we've got a Monday night game. Got to let everybody know after the show to make sure they catch that on ESPN. It'll be the Las Vegas Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs. And, of course, another potential awesome setup for an AFC West matchup. These two teams hate each other, and they've been playing lights out for the last couple of years. So it's not been a disappointing matchup. So Chris will start out. Who needs to win this game the most in order to make some headway going forward?
I mean, I would probably say the Raiders need this game more if they want to stay in the race in the AFC West, because, I mean, the Chiefs are at the top, and the Raiders actually have a chance to make a comeback. I mean, the Chargers, even though they got a win yesterday, they're definitely reeling with injuries, so they have a chance to at least kind of climb up a little bit. And with Denver in a massive free fall, in my honest opinion, the Raiders have a chance to move up. So I think the Raiders need this game way more than Kansas City.
Yeah, and Marcus, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
same question. Go ahead.
The Raiders need this game tremendously. The Chiefs, I feel like with Pat Mahomes, even if they take a few L's, he can always kind of reel them back in. But I think with the adjustments the Raiders made, with the personnel, it's kind of key for them to get on track, especially the connection with Adams. I could see him getting frustrated, watching his game film and just watching him out there, his body language. I think it's key for Adams to get on track with the Raiders during this game on prime time.
And really, while the Raiders know they have to win this game, Josh McDaniels is just someone that I have very little faith in as a head coach. Do you think there's any hope for the Raiders to have him turn around this season, or is it just going to be a mess going forward? And Marcus, I'll let you take that one.
I mean, it looks like it's going to be a mess. Feel like there's a lot of emotions involved. I know I keep talking about Adams, but just him changing quarterbacks and just the production. Just the argument. Was it Rodgers or was it Adams just that good? I think there's a lot of pressure on that situation.
I mean, I think it's going to be a mess because we've seen the Josh McDaniels experience before in Denver, and it did not work. Josh McDaniels think that he's God's gift to offensive play calling, and we know that's not how this works. I mean, I think overall, I think the Raiders actually have a very talented roster. I mean, Derek Carr has had a resurgence, really, especially, after John, even with John Gruden there, it was more of a resurgence for him. And now you had Devontae Adams. It was supposed to be that connection, but everybody seemed to key in on that. And you got Darren Waller, you got Josh Jacobs, you have a good nucleus of players. I just don't know why they can't seem to put it all together defensively. Mad Max Crosby, who I am a big fan of, is, playing out of this world. Chandler Jones, not so much, but I think it does come down to coaching. And we all thought this AFC West was gonna be just a bloodbath. And right now we're just seeing Kansas City treading along as usual. I think the LA Chargers might, when they get some people back, might be able to make their way up. They still got Justin Herbert, so there's some hope there. But with the Raiders, I think Josh McDaniels is going to cost them in the end.
And an AFC West that is 10-10 right now this year. So, guys, let's go ahead and get to our predictions. Chris, we'll go ahead and start with you. Who do you like to win this matchup tonight on Monday Night Football?
As I said earlier, the Raiders need this game more, and I saw the line was -7. I don't know if it's changed, but if I'm a betting man, all my money will be going on the Chiefs. Yeah. And there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Chiefs all the way.
I'm just gonna go against the grain. I kind of want the Raiders to win this one, 35-32. I want it to be a gunslinging match between the two. I want Carr and Adams to get on the same page. I want to see Kelsey with big numbers today. Prize picks.
Oh, you know what? I didn't give a score prediction. I think, Kansas City's gonna win, and I'm going 34-21. I think Kansas City is gonna sling it around, and the Raiders are not going to be able to keep up.
All right, interesting picks. And to finish it out on my end, I gotta admit, the road teams have been very intriguing to me, and they had a pretty good week this week 5. So going forward, I know I'm not a big Josh McDaniels fan. I do, however, feel Derek Carr is starting to get in his groove. I think the defense is playing much better, and I think Devontae Adams is due for a big game. So even though it's on the road, even though I do feel the Chiefs are the better team, I'm going to have to go with the Chiefs on this one. And we'll go 35-31 on it. All that anticipation just to go for the Chiefs. But hey, we've seen a lot of upsets this week. So it's possible. Nothing's out of the realm of possibility. The two teams in the Super Bowl are combined 4-6 right now. So it's very interesting. It's been a very interesting season, just to say the least. Get to some of your comments before we hit our first break. Lou Man saying we could have used him. Titan Fox, the Power Hour believes the fire sale idea pretty strongly. Lou, I do. When coaches get fired and you've got talent that's expendable and you can build off that and you're trying to attract a very good head coach and potential better players down the road, sometimes you got to sell some assets off. Titan Anderson in the building. TA, good seeing you, buddy. Definitely love getting you on the show. Raiders need it, but I don't think they'll pull it off. And I mean, we're all in agreement on that, Fox. I think it's one of those games. I think it'll be close, but I think the Chiefs run away with it. Our buddy Ryan Harris of the Jump Pass Podcast joining us on the show. Good seeing you, man. Always love seeing that good stuff. Make sure you check him out as well. And, of course, Lou Man, Arrowhead's going down, so I guess he's going Raiders. Love the boldness, man, but, sometimes it pays off. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick 30-second break, and when we come back, Titans, Commanders. We're going to talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, and what we hope to see as the bye week goes forward and what will happen for the rest of the 12-game stretch. I'm Michael Bishop with the Power Hour, and we'll be back in 30. The Power Hour is on the air, live streaming to you on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. I'm your host, Michael Bishop, and thank you for joining us on this Monday evening. It is fantastic having everybody in. Love all the comments we're getting. Joining us tonight are the Blue Enforcer, Titans and Truth, as always, and our good buddy Marcus. Great having you both on the show. Always fantastic getting your perspectives in on here. Guys, want to make sure you give a shout out to the audience and let them know where to find all your great content. So, Chris, we'll start with you.
Well, y'all, y'all can find me Titans and Truth on YouTube. You can definitely find me there. Definitely got actually going to be coming out with a week 5 review of some games, the Truth League reports. I'm going to be coming out with my top 5 games from this week and also my top ballers. And then Wednesday, we'll be talking Titans. We'll be seeing what improvements they can make, and I'm hoping to have some ladies on who have survived breast cancer, celebrating breast cancer awareness month, but celebrating any women and anybody who has beaten any type of cancer, because even though this is breast cancer awareness month, there is other cancers out there, blood, lung, any other type of cancers out there that people need treatment and to beat. So definitely check me out on Titans of Truth on YouTube, TNT Enforcers on Facebook, Instagram at TNT Blue Enforcer. That is with a number 4 in the middle. And also on Instagram at Titans_in_truth every Monday, Wednesday, and sometimes Saturday. So stay tuned for that.
All right, I'm a Titans video creator. My YouTube is Mad Sports D16. That'll be the same for Instagram and Twitter. I just like to, chop up the video after the games and show my perspective of what I see, the key players that stood out to me. And that's probably pretty much it.
Both of them giving out fantastic content for you, the viewers, to make sure that you have a great viewing experience. Check them out on all their social media profiles. These dudes are working hard for you, so you don't have to, because that's what we do here in Titans Twitter and Titans Nation. That's what we do, guys. We make it easy for you to have that accessibility. And definitely want to give a shout out to Chris's hat. Love it. Rocking the red hat, throwing some variety there. So got to give a shout out to that as well. And guys, as always, if you love the show, help it grow. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok at the Power Hour 615. And don't forget, we are a part of the Titan Upload Network. Titan Rossi gave a great interview with A to Z Sports Austin Stanley today, so make sure you check that out when you get the opportunity. Definitely got a lot of things coming down the pipeline. Going to keep you informed as soon as we get more information on that, so make sure you check everything out. That's what we do. We're here to entertain you. All right, guys, let's waste no time any further. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Titans, Commanders, it was a nail-biter to say the least, but we all have our perspective on everything going forward. The Titans, once again, struggled in the second half, and unfortunately, most of that stretched out to the second quarter to where it seemed like we struggled offensively, but at times the defense tried to hold it together as much as they could. Chris, we'll start with you on what you liked. What do you think the Titans excelled in with this game and gives you a little hope going forward, especially with a 12-game stretch looming around the corner?
Well, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with everybody here. There wasn't really a lot to like about this game, and I'm just gonna be perfectly honest. I know there are a lot of people that will say there are such things as bad losses, but there are also such things as bad wins. And I think this one definitely qualifies as a bad win. The Titans did not look like a good football team yesterday, but I will say Derrick Henry definitely probably one of, if not the only bright spot in this game. And I will say, the defense bent, but they did not break. But they almost did break. But they did hold fort at the end. And again, Tier Tart, Big Jeff, Danico, that defensive line did absolutely everything they possibly could in this game. So I definitely liked it with Derrick Henry. Definitely liked it with the defensive line. Nick Westbrook-Akina with the big 62-yard catch was, that changed the game and changed the momentum because it was definitely heading in the Commanders' direction. The Commanders had all the momentum at that time, and then the Titans scored to take the lead back was, that was the game changer right there.
And Marcus, in a game where there was just a lot of ups and downs and mainly inconsistencies, especially where we felt we couldn't get the receiving core going, and once again, especially missing Treylon Burks and waiting for somebody really just to step up and be a difference maker in that. Nick Westbrook-Akina definitely having the best reception of the day, but it wasn't until most of the day Derrick Henry led all receptions for wide receivers right up until the fourth quarter. So who are we going to have to rely on to try and help us break through out of this slump and actually try and make some plays? For the receivers that we have right now, there's a lot of question marks, but who do you feel is somebody that the Titans need to try and get involved more, especially just trying to get the ball out a little quicker?
I like Chiga Conko. I think we just need to kind of go to him a little bit more. We got to utilize the tight ends. We can have all the receivers in the world, but we got to throw to them. We got to have long drives. All the 3 and outs is going to affect everybody's numbers. We also had a lot of penalties that brought back a lot of big plays. So I feel that we have the team that we can press forward and make the playoffs and maybe win a game or two. But I just don't know. I feel like we don't have enough speed at receiver. But I feel like we just got to take them deep shots, no matter if it's speed or not. We just got to try it, and I think that's going to open up the field for Derrick Henry and the tight end, so they can have that middle of the field open.
Yeah, I would say by default, you're going to have to go to Robert Woods, even though Robert Woods had a massive drop, in the game. You're going to have to go with Robert Woods. I really don't understand 2 things about this offense. One, I don't know why they don't go to Austin Hooper more and make him more effective in the game as they should. And I don't know what is this love affair they have with Jeff Swain. It's like they are seriously in love with this guy and have him on the field more than anybody, and yet he can't produce crap. Now, Chig had a nice catch that possibly could have been a touchdown, which I kind of see it both ways, but I think in the end it was the right call that it was not a touchdown, but it was a nice play design and a nice call. Just take that end zone back a little bit. That's a TD for Chig. I would like to see him on the field a little bit more. But I mean, Robert Woods has to be the guy at least right now. But I will force feed the ball to Woods and to Burks when he comes back. I mean, that's just what I think they would have to do. But for Tannehill, Marcus, to your point, for Tannehill to take those deep shots, something else has to hold up, which I know we're going to get to, and therein lies the problem.
And nice segue, by the way. And of course, going with that, I definitely have to let us have our vent session. Each one of us is going to pick whatever we want and vent about. So, Chris, you know what to do. I'm going to hand the floor to you first.
Thank you. Excuse me. Like I said, there are bad losses. This was a bad win. Titans did not look good in a lot of areas. I think two areas in particular. Now, Christian Fulton, I think, had a pretty decent game. And even though Roger McCreary got burnt deep, all in all, I think he had a decent game. Even though I'm not giving up on this kid, I'm really getting kind of tired of either the fan base or the media just wanting to throw Caleb Farley away like he's nothing. I understand he's struggling. He gave up two big, he gave up a deep play in this game. He's given up a deep play against Indianapolis. But what would you rather do? Go with him or Terrence Mitchell? I think you go better with Farley. Let him get that experience. Every corner gets beat deep. Every corner gets beat. I don't know any corner that has not. But we know where the main problem is on this team, and at some way it has to be addressed. It's the offensive line. This offensive line was absolutely pathetic. Nobody played well on the offensive line from left to right. Dennis Daly is an atrocity. He stinks in the worst possible way. You mean to tell me Dylan Raiders couldn't play left tackle over this guy? Although he played left or right guard, which I was shocked to see that happen. And Aaron Brewer, he is completely overmatched. He is way in over his head. And I know Vrabel said he's tougher than a $2 steak. Well, a $2 steak don't amount for much. If you go to a restaurant, a steak costs about a good $30 for a good steak. $2 steak is cheap. That means he ain't that good. Ben Jones, I think, is at the end of his rope. Nate Davis being out, does hurt. Even though I will give Nicholas Petit-Frere a pass on this, mainly because that Commander defensive line is really good. Let me say that one more time for everybody. That Commander defensive line, that was not a fluke what they did yesterday. They are very, very good. We were just very, very bad also. And Petit-Frere had his worst game as a Titan, but I think it's a good learning experience for him. But all in all, this offensive line was just god awful in the worst way.
And Marcus, I yield the floor to you.
Yeah, it's the offensive line. Tannehill, I think he's just scared. Because they coming in so fast. The offensive line is not getting any kind of push. They're getting pushed over and just beat, just like with bull rushes. I remember seeing a stat where Sweat didn't have a sack coming into the game, and I thought to myself, well, he finna have one today. And you just know he don't really have much time, and I think he's just kind of getting a little bit scared in the pocket. And I don't know what we can do to change it. That's why I kind of want him to maybe roll out, just be more creative in the pocket. Maybe the coaching staff can, call plays to protect him, let him feel more comfortable. But him, stepping up in the pocket, I think it's a scary sight for him for sure.
And I could go with the offensive line as well. But really, I have to step in and do the second obvious one. As angry as the offensive line made me, and believe me, it did, When your quarterback gets sacked 5 times and hit 13 times, you're going to be pissed off regardless of whatever happens. But that's not even the biggest reason why I'm continuously angry. The same way I've been just disappointed and angry for the last 3 to 4 weeks. I have to face a win knowing that Todd Downing is still the damn offensive coordinator. And that infuriates me to my nerves. The fact that once again, it's a situation where Todd Downing gets a pass. It seems like every win is like a pass for him. And I'm not going to let that be excusable. I'm not going to let this offense that at one time could score on will is now just barely touching the red zone in the second half. That should not be an excusable excuse. And I'm not going to make it an excusable excuse. And I'm going to make this perfectly clear to everybody watching. I am not rooting for anyone to get fired. But damn it, I know bad. And if bad isn't working, why are you expecting different results with it? Because you're just fooling yourself. Downing's just not that guy. And Vrabel can defend him, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, there's the teams that are going to go to the playoffs and have deep runs and win Super Bowls. You look me dead in the eye, and you tell me that Todd Downing can win a Super Bowl with his offensive play sheet. You tell me that's possible, and I'll call you a liar to your face. Because I know to be successful as an offensive coordinator, you have to have 3 things. You have to have creativity, you have to have adaptability, and you have to be willing to go out and do what it takes to win. Todd Downing cannot do either of those.
I agree.
So going forward, we know Tennessee is going to come into the bye week, and they won't be back till next week. So the only ones that are going to be in the facilities are the guys that are doing rehab and basically just taking care of their injuries. So heading into next week, what's some things you would like to see addressed going forward in this long 12-game stretch? Marcus, we'll start with you.
Just seeing everybody just get back healthy. I always been a fan of Bud Dupree. Just like his I guess the wiggle he got out the wiggle he get at the line of scrimmage. I think it just ignites everyone else. It's a big difference when he's not on the field. It's like a rocking step he does. He might not get to the quarterback, but he like initiate the pressure, and he speeds the clock up of the opposing quarterback. So I just want to see him get back on the field. And just watching the defense yesterday, defensive line did very well, but it's just like all bull rushes. They try to do stunts. It's just not the same without Landry and Bud Dupree. I would just like to at least get Bud Dupree back and see our pass rush get a little bit more faster.
Yeah, I would say, definitely get some injury back. I mean, I want to see them make a few changes, but I'm afraid, and I've said this before, and really, Bishop, I want to go back to what you just said. Creativity, adaptability, and being able to just do what you got to do. The thing about it is, I always had this philosophy. If it's 1 or 2 players doing something wrong, 9 times out of 10 is that player. They need to change some stuff. But when an entire unit is struggling, it's time to take a look at the coach. And Vrabel has been very adamant in wanting to blame the players for all the problems, but yet has never once said, you know what? Maybe it is a coaching problem. But the problem is he can't really use that excuse because he's already used it before. He's already used the player's excuse before. He can't really go back to that. So what I want to see is some changes on the offensive line. Get Dennis Daly the heck out of here because he stinks. And I think maybe move Dylan Radins to left guard instead of Brewer because Brewer is just getting overpowered. I mean, he is getting completely outmatched. There was a couple of times where, I mean, he got literally bull rushed back into Tannehill, and Tannehill had no chance. And Daly had one too. Sweat had a monster game. But I would like to see that. I would like to see some players get back. I'd like to see Elijah Molden get back. Maybe Racing Math adds a little bit of speed to that, but I don't know if he'll be that much effective because, you know, he hasn't played a lot. But again, as I said with Caleb Farley, you only get better with reps, game reps. So I would like to see them be implemented. Hopefully get Amani Hooker back because the secondary has struggled mightily. And, you know, so I just want to see some guys get back. I just want to see a few things adapt and change a little. But I just don't know if Vrabel has the balls to do that. I mean, because we know he's arrogant. We know he thinks he knows better than everybody else. So I'm gonna wait and see mode.
And Marcus, what would you like to see going forward?
Hey, had a little situation at the house. Can you ask the question again?
When the team comes back from the bye week, what's something you want to see addressed going forward in the 12-game stretch the Titans have?
I mean, because we talked about it earlier about more speed at receiver. I don't see them making a change. I think they locked in for what they have, but I feel like it's important to try to find some speed at receiver. It was some receivers that I liked in preseason, like Roberson and Josh Malone. For some reason, they did not make the cut, but I just think that value at speed at receiver is just not a lot of fans think it should be, and I think that's something I would like to see.
Really, for me, it's just a couple of things, and I'll try and keep it quick because I could sit here all night and just go over everything, but I know we don't have that much time, and I know you guys got things to do, so I'll try and keep it quick. You know, the offensive line, as horrendous as it was, I want to see what they did the last couple of weeks that made it work. Let's get to that point. I want to see what the film was that made that offensive line click the last 2 weeks, where Tannehill came out of the game with a clean jersey. You know, I don't think they're out of the realm of just not working completely. I think we just have to find the right setup. I'm not pleased with the effort that was put forth yesterday, but at the same time, somewhere along the lines, something worked. We just have to figure out what the hell changed. I think Nate Davis being out of the lineup is one of the key reasons. And of course, it's really just finding that connection that where these guys are going to work on a 12-game basis and be at least serviceable. If Derrick Henry can squeeze 100 yards out of this offensive line, I can only imagine what he could do with a competent one. So if it's the only line we have, let's go back to the film. Let's see what worked in those last 2 games and go from there. I think that's a fair assessment. And the next one's for Coach Vrabel. You may be Coach of the Year, but I'm going to give you a hard dose of truth. You know why Bill Belichick and Nick Saban are successful? They adapt. When things work, they keep doing it, but when they don't work, they're not quick to make changes. They will do whatever it takes to be successful and adapt to the surroundings. Let's remember, at times they'll run the ball. At times they'll go to a spread offense. At times they'll play an RPO. They're adaptable because they will find any way to make their team successful. That's how you go for the long haul. And let's be honest. Anybody can win Coach of the Year and still lose their job. And I'm not saying Vrabel's on the hot seat, but damn it, it's all right if you want to run things your way. But that's the quickest way to the unemployment line.
Mhm.
Consistency, adaptability, being creative, and adapting to change. That is where you see coaches like Andy Reid, John Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin, Bill Belichick. Those guys are still there because they change. Because they find different ways to win. That's where you find your adaptability. That's where you got to be creative. Let's stop calling Tim Kelly whatever the hell's position you were calling him, the quarterback's assistant, or I don't know, the assistant cashier lunch checkout guy. I don't know what the hell you were calling him. But let's just be real. He's here because we know eventually he's going to be the offensive coordinator. You fought hard last year to get him, and the Texans said no, and you made up some bullshit job to get him. And now he's here, and we have an opportunity to get this offense clicking in the right way. So let's do the damn thing. I'm tired of the excuses. I'm tired of standing up for someone that's not going to work. You've got somebody here that can change the offense and take it into a different dynamic. Ryan Tannehill's confidence could probably explode the same way Deshaun Watson's did, or the same way Davis Mills had while he was there. Let's just call it what it is. If it's time to move on, then let's just make the move. Rip the Band-Aid off and let's just get it over with.
I want to ask you this question, and I don't mean to cut you off. You're absolutely 100% right. The change should be made. But let's be honest with ourselves. You know good and well Vrabel ain't going to do it. He's too stubborn for it. Would you agree?
I don't deny the stubbornness. But my biggest question is, what's more important? Your pride or winning? And you're the kind of guy I look at, and winning is more important. And if winning is important to you, take the hit in the chest. It'll hurt, but it's better than taking one in the head. Because then you're out, and that's it.
100% right. I mean, that's the thing. Mike, and I kept saying this to a lot of people. With Vrabel, it's kind of going down that Mike Mularkey type road. Same thing happened with Mularkey. Robisky stunk at his job. J-Rob asked him to make the change at offensive coordinator. Mularkey wouldn't do it. Instead of taking that punch to the gut or that punch to the chest, and you come back with something, J-Rob decided to punch him in the head, and Mularkey wasn't going to get up from that. Vrabel has a chance to not repeat that mistake. I'm just scared he is going to repeat that mistake because, again, they talk about accountability, but I don't see him holding none to himself right now. He'll always say the whole, we got to play better, do better, coach better bull crap that we're sick of hearing. I just don't think he has the balls to do it because he's afraid of letting go of his friend. Although Tim Kelly is the better choice.
Friends come and go. Super Bowl trophies last forever.
I like it.
You want a friend, go to Friendster. Go on Facebook. I don't give a damn. This is the NFL. I know there's plenty of coaches out there that hire guys that they're friends with. But here's the thing. Tim Kelly's your friend too. And right now, you basically got a Ferrari sitting in the garage. It's gathering dust, man. Throw the sheet off that thing, put it outside, let it ride. Got to give a shout out to the boss man as well, because apparently I just went from TV PG to TV 14, so my apologies. That's what happens when I get fired up here. I got to have somebody on the beeper, but that's on me, so my apologies.
He'll be all right.
Well, guys, before we go, I definitely want to get some final thoughts for both of you. 12-game stretch coming up. Marcus, we'll start with you. What do you want to see the Titans accomplish by the end of this season?
I think realistically we could win the division. The Super Bowl, I mean, that'd be just us hoping, being fans. But I'm not like Super Bowl or bust or nothing like that. So I just want to just see them just continue to, just build and stack up wins. And with Vrabel, I mean, I just like the way the team plays with grit. And I like to watch them. I see like Derrick Henry, Simmons, how they became the leaders they are. So I just feel like just going forward, just win the next two games, division wins. As far as winning the Super Bowl, I'm not putting it all on Vrabel's shoulders to win the Super Bowl, or he need to be fired or anything like that. But I don't think it's the year for that. I think we need to see what's going on for next year. But I think we can get to the playoffs and maybe get a win.
Oh, my bad.
You're right, Chris.
I would say, because I know I've been talking too much anyway.
That's impossible.
But, I just want to see this offense get better. I just want to see this offense utilize their weapons. I understand Derek. I understand the Beast King is the engine that makes this train go. I get it. Let me say that one more time because I understand. Derrick Henry is what makes this train go, but it is time to use some other parts of the engine. Get Robert Woods involved, get Austin Hooper involved, force feed the ball to Burks when he comes back. I don't think that's a bad idea. Throw the damn ball. It doesn't hurt to do it. And at the same time, this offensive line, I mean, if you want to make Jeff Swain or Torrey Carter extra offensive linemen, fine. I'm okay with that. That's fine. You could do that because, I mean, they need all the help they can get. I think defensively, get healthy, get Bud Dupree back, and he better get back and produce because I think he could get cut after this year if he doesn't. Rashard Weaver, I just want to see him continue his progression. I think he did make another play or two in this game. I don't know if he made a sack or not, but I just want to see him continue to progress because I think his arrow is going way up. And this secondary, you got to stop giving up the big plays. Byard included. It is definitely included in this. You got to stop giving up the big plays. Limit the big plays. I mean, get these wins with the Colts and the Texans, beat the Jags, because this schedule is only going to get harder. There are a lot of really good football teams waiting in the wings to play us. Kansas City, Green Bay, Cincinnati, LA is probably going to get healthy. A lot of good teams are coming up. And we play like this, those teams are going to beat the crap out of us. And I'm just being honest. Truth, y'all. So we better be able to adapt and be able to play with those teams, like you said.
And all great points. I mean, it comes down to basically just adaptability, creativity, and health. We need all of those in order to be successful. We need all of those to get down the line and compete with these teams. Do I feel the Titans are capable of winning the division? I'm on the fence today. I really am. It's hard, especially knowing that we're going down the same road, making the same mistakes health-wise that we haven't been able to fix, and the same mistakes offensively that we're making that we did last year. And the problem is we don't have an A.J. Brown to bail us out. Let's be real about that. We have what we have. And right now, we're a 3-2 team. Where will we be once January comes rolling around the bend? Will we be in the playoffs? Will we be talking about the draft? That's going to be the key thing. But as I said, sometimes you got to look at your staff. And the key thing is, if you have a guy that's running McDonald's, running a 5-star kitchen, is that the best option there? Especially when you have a Michelin star chef that's just sitting around doing nothing. You do the math. All right, guys, I want to thank everybody for joining us on the show tonight. We've had a great time. I want to thank Chris, Blue Force for Titans and Truth, and Marcus for joining us tonight on the show. We've had a lot of great feedback today from you all. You all were fantastic. Once again, give yourselves a round of applause. It's because of you that this show is successful, and we keep doing this for you. So thank you so much for all your support and all your input tonight. So, guys, before we get out of here, I want to let the fans get a chance to know where to find you and all your great content tonight.
Well, again, like I said, y'all can find me, Titans of Truth, on YouTube every Wednesday night. Usually every Friday or Saturday before with the Truth League report. And then on Monday, doing reviews of the game and also of the NFL week. So I'm trying to get out to more NFL fans as well. Titans of Truth on YouTube, TNT Enforcers, the fan page on Facebook, at TNT Blue Enforcer on Twitter, and also at Titan_in_truth on Instagram. I'm going to get better at trying to post out some more things and things like that. So I'm definitely trying to pop up with that. And if y'all listen to the live stream yesterday, I apologize for the audio. This obviously sounds better, so I think I'm going to go back with the old. So thank you for having me, Mike. Marcus, pleasure to meet you finally. And tighten up. That's all we know how to do.
Yeah. You can find me at Mad Sports D16 on YouTube. Same thing for Instagram and Twitter, Mad Sports D16. And I appreciate y'all having me on and sharing the platform with y'all fellas.
Guys, fantastic show tonight. Great having you on. Chris, Marcus, thank you once again. To our audience, thank you for joining us tonight. Guys, I'm taking a week off. I will be back the following week to talk Titans Colts when we get there. So I'm exhausted. I need the time off, so I'm giving it to myself. Thanks, me. But once again, for Chris and more.
Yeah, I think I might keep my show a little short.
We're working hard, guys. So when the bye comes, sometimes we just got to bite the bullet and just take care of ourselves. So pampering time it is. So for our buddy Chris and that's exactly right. You got to take care of yourself. So for our buddy Chris and Marcus, I'm Michael Bishop of the Power Hour. Take care and tighten up.
Thank you for watching this live presentation of the Titan Upload Network.